What's up, everybody? This is Ohio Sports Talk. I am Doug. That's Jordan, and we are special guests tonight, Coach Fresh from the Alter Knights. Coach Fresh, how you doing today?
Doing great. Just got off the golf course and was looking forward to jumping on here and chatting with you guys.
Well, let's start it off then. How'd you play today?
Oh, man, it's predictable. I shoot a 45 every damn week. And I have 3 pars or 4 pars or 2 birdies, but it always ends up being 45 somehow, and I shot a 45 again. So I don't feel like I played too poorly, but it's about just getting out there and having fun and usually having a drink or two afterwards. But we played so slowly today, and the course was so crowded that I decided just to come straight home and have my own
there you go.
with you guys.
Where'd you play today?
I'm in a league of community in Dayton.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yep. Well, in fact, I cut grass there 2 days a week.
Nice.
I'm retired, and I cut grass there 2 days a week, and I get free golf and free cart.
That's a pretty winning formula. That's
a win.
And I get paid. So, I mean, it's all good.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a massive win. Jordan, we know you've been sick a little bit this weekend. How you doing, bud?
Doing good. We're batting 2 for 2 for shows today. So let's take off and dive right in it.
Okay, well, on that note, Coach Fresh, let's talk about the Alter Knights, the Division II Ohio State champions for basketball.
Yeah. Wow.
Massive accomplishment.
Yep. Sure is.
Give me a little insight on that. What's it like winning a state championship?
Well, I was part of the program when we won back in 2001. I had a son on that team, and then I was helping her run in the middle school stuff way back then, and so I was there, but I wasn't intimately invested like I have been, for the last 20 years at the high school level coaching. So it was a lot of work. And, somebody asked me the other day, what was I thinking when I finally knew that we were probably going to win? And I couldn't help but think about all the work we did, last summer, preseason, the practices, obviously, and then the up and down season we had, mostly up, but some down. And, it was a lot of hard work and a lot of effort, a lot of commitment by people. But, I can tell you, not everybody can say it pays off at the end, but it takes a little bit of luck. And we got that with some of the things that happened game-wise, and we took advantage of it, and it's still sinking in, to be honest with you, Doug. It's especially meaningful because if you guys don't know this, they're going to 7 divisions next year. We're in Division 2 of 4 this year, which is extremely competitive. 2 years ago, we lost to Akron St. Vincent St. Mary's in the state semis, who were unbeatable. But they're going to 7 divisions next year, and we're going to move down a couple divisions and be in Division 4. So it's not probably going to be as competitive. And just because of the sheer numbers, you're not going to have to win as many games to get it done. So it's especially meaningful because we did it the last year that they have the 4-division format.
That's a great point, Coach Fresh, because obviously, expanding, while that is nice and that, creates some opportunities elsewhere, the competition probably won't be the same. And a program as good as Alter is in all sports, I mean, you guys very well could just go on a very dominant run here with a different, division and a little bit lower potential lower competition. I mean, that's just how you have to look at it. Mm-hmm. Jordan, let me ask you, because you came into this run a little bit later in the season. What was your thoughts in your experiences as the run went along?
Just incredible. Meeting Coach Fresh, seeing how they just run everything on a professional platform. Great communication with the student athletes, great communication with the community. Everybody was deeply involved. I got to go to a few home games and just kind of see what it was all about. See the stadium.
Hey, Jordan's going to have to come back next year because he latches on, and all of a sudden we win a state. So Jordan, you're going to have to come back next year, bro.
Hey,
I was gonna ask if it was that a good luck charm, possibly.
I can't think any other way. I mean, he shows up when we win a state. So
I definitely will be there. Definitely will be there through that run. It was incredible. But just to see the way they perform, see the way they communicate, through their athletic system. It was definitely a good format to see moving forward. So I'm super excited to be there next season. Definitely kind of touched on you a little bit. We'll hit the back nine sometime this summer. Show you how I golf my 60 to 70 your 45. So
Yeah, it's all fun, man. It's all
Well,
but
yeah, keep going, Jordan.
no, especially seeing you had a lot of juniors on the squad as well. So you have a lot of returning upperclassmen, including your centers. So that's your center play and your wing play was a big for the defense. And
all our size is back. 4 juniors and a sophomore. We're losing 2 really important senior guards, Gavin Lead and Joe Brand, who just were phenomenal this year, both on and off the court for us. But we're getting all our size back, and the length. Theoretically next year we could start 6'3", 6'6", 6'8", 6'7", 6'5".
Jeez, that's crazy.
We could. I'm not saying that's exactly what's going to happen,
right.
But all our size is back, and everybody talked about our length, during the tournament. I don't know if you watched any of the Spectrum broadcast, but they talked a lot about our length, and it was significant. It was a significant advantage a lot of times, but those guys are all back, man. So expectations are going to be going to Division IV and having those guys back. Expectations are going to be right where they should be, and that's to be really good again.
Coach Fresh, let me ask you this. You mentioned your 2 senior guards, Lean and then Brand. Any looks for them to go to the next level and where they could potentially end up?
Yeah, Gavin's a really good golfer. He was on the state championship golf team as well. So he won 2 state champions this year, but he's not going to play next year. That's a personal decision. He's doing something different. Joe is definitely going to play at the next level, and he had a couple solid leads going into the tournament run, but then because he was so good down the stretch, especially at UD Arena the last weekend, he has 3 or 4 other opportunities now, bigger and better opportunities than he had before. The state does give you exposure to a lot more exposure than you otherwise would not have gotten. And so Joe he's got a few more opportunities. He's still working that out, but that dude can play, man. He drew 25 charges this year. He drew 25 charges this year by himself. That's really all you need to know about him, man. Yeah, we haven't had teams do that. I asked the coach, an old coach who stopped in our practice one day, and I asked him. I was telling him about Joe drawing at the time 23 charges, and I asked this old coach, did he ever have a team, not one guy, but a team draw that many charges? He goes, oh, yeah, in practice once when we ran the drill. I'm like, okay. So now Joe is the really kind of the heart and soul of our team, and he's going to have some opportunities, and he's going to keep me posted, but he's working on that right now, and he was spectacular 2 weekends ago.
And that's great for him. I actually recently saw him tweet out some of his highlight tape.
Yes.
I'm a big proponent for the Dayton Flyers. I do a lot of Twitter stuff there.
Yeah.
And I actually ran across his highlights, and like you said, 25 charges. That's a guy that coaches are going to be wanting to have on their team. It might not be the number one guy role, but if you can get a guy who's willing to take a charge, hustle, do all the little things, that's a guy that's a winning player, and that's somebody you're going to want to have on your roster.
Always on the floor, always diving for loose balls. Really heady, smart, great, and obviously a really good great basketball IQ, a leader on the floor. He's going to be successful. I'm sure he'll land in the right spot. He'll be successful at the next level. This is a big if, and you can say this about a lot of guys, but if he was 6'4", or 6'5", teams like UD would be interested.
Yeah, he'd be. I would assume he would have been on the Division I radar for a while now.
Yes, he's got
with his style of play.
All those intangibles that you said coaches look for first. Really, I can tell you this firsthand. When they come in the gym, and they're talking to guys or talking to us about guys, they're not looking at our website for scoring averages and things like that.
Right.
They want to know what kind of a kid is he, does he hustle? Does he play hard? Does he practice hard? That's the stuff they ask about. They don't ask about averages and how many threes they made and all that stuff. They might kind of come by that information naturally, but that's not what they talk to us or ask us. And Joe has all those intangibles.
Yeah, and that's what you want out of your senior guard is exactly what we're talking about.
Yes,
Coach, the team, you end up Division II champs, obviously. Great regular season, 23-7 overall. You go 8-2 in conference. You win the conference. Based on a couple websites, you guys were finished up as the number 4 team in the state.
Yeah,
very impressive in a very talented basketball state like Ohio.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, before you actually got into the state run, at what point in the season did you think, okay, this team's got the components, this team's got some of the stuff that we want? What point in the year did you think, hey, this team's got a shot to maybe make a run here late in the year?
Well, I mean, I think we thought it all along. When R.J. Greer transferred or came back to Alder, he came back to us. He left us to go Springboro for a couple years, but he was a Catholic school feeder guy. Went to Incarnation. Ricardo, obviously, associate head coach at UD, and
know a lot about him.
So R.J. wanted to come back with his friends, and so once we kind of knew that was locked in, and he started showing up, we kind of started feeling like this team had a chance to be special. But I mean, there's so much competition out there. So I think right from the beginning, I mean, we beat we went down and played in that special at Mason. We play every year. It's a spectacular event. And we beat Hilliard Bradley down there, who's really, really good. I mean, we got a kid going to Illinois State. They're really, really good, and we beat them at the beginning of the season and rode kind of the coattails of that win in terms of our RPI, and it helped our seeding tremendously as we went along through the season. But that was the first game of the year, and we kind of thought, I mean, that's a major win, big D1 school like that. So I think right then and there, we all kind of looked around and said, we're pretty good. We can probably make this happen. And then you start looking around you to see who else is good in Dayton and who else is good in Cincinnati, and you got the Lutheran West and the Shelbys and all that stuff as you work your way through the season. But I'm going to say right from the beginning, we thought we had a chance to do something special. And I mean, you don't know, you don't ever expect to win 8 in a row and win the state like that. I mean, it becomes a dream, right? I mean, sooner or later.
Oh, yeah.
But I'd say right from the beginning, we thought we had a chance to be special, and things kind of fell our way. We got the 1 seed at the end of the season, and then the last piece for us, I think, probably was when Shelby beat Lutheran West, and then Maysville beat Shelby. I mean, those are 2 games that were upsets really and helped us tremendously. But I thought we thought we were special right from the very beginning. It was just a question of having a good season and dealing with all the small ups and downs that we had to go through.
Right. Jordan, any thoughts on that?
No, I'd have to agree with Coach Fresh. Looking at the beginning of the season, especially their end season tournaments, and especially when they traveled out of state, and had some massive wins there, just kind of started building that culture, especially for the kind of recalibrating and putting themselves on a measuring stick towards the state championship and their interstate opponents. Like you said, you had to look around to the interstate of Cincinnati region. You had to look around the Dayton area and see where you are on the measuring stick. And they Alter really answered the question time and time again that they were there to compete and they were going to be a force to be reckoned with, especially with their size and zone defense. So.
Coach Kohler and I were on a podcast Saturday, and he answered the exact question you asked. I'll tell you what he said, and I don't disagree with this. We were playing a top 10 team in the country at Flying to the Hoop, a team out of Fort Lauderdale, Westchester Academy. They're not a prep school technically, but they really are. They have a top 10 kid in the country who UD's recruiting really hard, and we got down by 17 to them at halftime, and we went in the locker room, and a few choice words were used. Nothing real dramatic. Gavin Lean got up and spoke, and we came out in the second half of that game, and it might have been the best second half I've seen an older team play in a while, and for sure our best half of a game the whole season, really, and got back into that game and took a couple leads and had a shot at the buzzer that RJ came up a little bit short with to win that game at the buzzer. And I think that coach said he thought that's probably when he thought, we could do something with these guys, because that was really, really, really tough competition. And we fought back and really had a chance to win a game against the top 15 or 20 team in the country in flying to the hoop that day. And so, yeah, that was a little bit of an eye opener for us, I think.
Yeah, the looks like you guys came back against Westminster Academy and lost by 1.
Yeah,
you said RJ had a chance to win that. That's big time against a top quality program like that.
They had a kid named Costanza who's I think a sophomore and top 25 in the country for his class. I know UD's really after him. Coach Greer and his dad are good friends, and this kid is really, really special, man. He's good. And they had a guard that's being recruited by D1s down in Florida. They were good, and we just hung in there and fought, and like you said, had a chance to win at the end and didn't. But it was if there's anything positive about losing, that was one of those games where you're not so disappointed you lost because you did do what you did in the second half and almost won it.
Definitely a measuring stick game for the season forward.
Yeah.
All right, Coach, we've talked about a lot of positives. Well, because I think maybe there could have been some positives that came out of this. What happened in that CJ game before the state tournament where, you guys, just the truth is you guys got undressed by CJ, but you spin it around and then you go on this run. So did that game, maybe light a fire under the guys? What happened in that tough CJ game where, took a bad loss that night?
Yeah, it was the perfect storm. We had clinched the league the night before with a win at home against Baden. We had clinched the 1 seed in our district. It was senior night for us the night before, and CJ had lost at Carroll the night before.
Yeah,
and so if you're looking for an excuse. They were way more motivated than we were. That game meant nothing at the end of the day other than, bragging rights between two rivals. But they did destroy us. It was a little bit of a disappointment. But I do think, and I agree with you, that it was a little bit of a humbler. I think the guys, it opened their eyes up and it said, hey, you guys are going to have to do something different if you want to make a deep run in this. And this is what it tastes like. To lose a game and to a rival, obviously, no less. And, again, if there's something good about losing, that game that game might have helped us in terms of our outlook going into the tournament and how we proceeded going forward there. But and then CJ lost to Baden in the district championship game. And, we thought I thought our league was a little bit down this year. I don't know what I'm thinking. It was not down. We had 4 teams go to the district championship games. I mean, that's ridiculous. Right. So I'm never going to say I think our league's down. I'm never going to say that again because we have 4 teams in the district, and obviously we were the lucky one to come out ahead of that. But that is part of what helps us get ready for the tournament is we do play a very tough non-conference schedule, as you've mentioned already, but the league is also always tough. Those second games, and we had to play league opponents a third time in the sectional final. We had to play Carroll, and we're down late in that game, and then we had to play McNick in the district championship game, and we were either tied or losing by 1 or 2 in the fourth quarter in that game. We ended up winning by 10. Those league games are brutal. The second games and then the third games when you have to play a league opponent, man, they're brutal. And
you got to beat somebody 3 times in a season, and that's tough. No matter who you are, no matter how good you are, to beat a team 3 times in a year, that's a massive accomplishment, Coach.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
let's spin this back to CJ comes out, they trip you guys up, the perfect storm, like you said. But then you come out and you thump Greenville by 57, and you get going on this run. Walk me through some of the that the beginning part of this run to the title?
Yeah, well, you never know what you're going to get. All we had, we didn't see Greenville in person, so all we had was huddle video on them, 3 or 4 of their games, and you can't translate what you see on video in terms of how fast kids are, how big they might be, how athletic they are. You can see, man-to-man zone press, what they do offensively, all those kinds of things, but you really can't tell what they're going to be like from a personnel perspective until you get out on the floor. So you go into those games as a coach, you're really nervous about them, but we were the 1 seed and they were the last seed, for lack of a better way to describe it. And so
that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was, I felt bad for them. That was a terrible game, but we played really well, and we love playing up at Springfield High School. I think over the years, we're something like 10-0 in that gym in the tournament. It's crazy. We have not lost, or even, we came close, but we have not lost up there. And that's where we were at, playing Greenville and Shawnee. Shawnee looked pretty decent. We had a couple common opponents with them. I think they had beaten Urbana, who we struggled with a little bit without RJ. We thought they were going to be formidable. They had some length, a couple really good athletes, a couple football guys plugged in, but that was not close. That
right.
We pulled away. Yeah, we pulled away in the second half of that game, and so those were 2 blowouts where everybody got to play and got us started on a really positive note. Nice. And everybody was happy, and all the practices were really upbeat and energetic, and everybody was into it. So that's the benefit of being the 1 seed. Sure. It really is, and no doubt it set us on our path for sure.
Well, Coach, you go on this run, and if you look at the scores, there were some comfortable wins in there, and then you look at the Carroll game. What, before we get to the actual final game, we'll touch on some of the in between. Was Carroll your guys' toughest matchup throughout the tournament?
Absolutely.
What was the reason for that? What about Carroll gave you guys problems?
We get their best shot every year, every game.
Is that a little brother feel from them?
I'm not going to say that.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but that does happen. That does,
let's just say we have a very, very decisive advantage over them in terms of all-time record.
Yes.
But they're really well coached. Tim Cogan does a really good job there. State championship coach when he was coaching the girls at Fairmont. And they're really, really good. And so the 2 games we played them during the regular season they weren't necessarily nail biters, but they weren't blowouts by any stretch of the imagination. And so they're very, very conservative. They run something called a pack line defense, all half court. They know us right. He does a great job of scouting us, and they know us like the back of their hand. By the way, our 2-3 zone, when it's really going well with the length that we have and the guys we have at the top of that zone in terms of their anticipation skills and their hands and stuff like that is a competitive advantage against teams who haven't seen anything like that all year, right? But guess what? Carroll saw it twice during the season and see it every year. So they kind of know how to attack it and what to do. We knew that they were going to try to shoot the 3 ball. They were really hot early. I think they made 7 out of their first 10.
Yeah.
Were you there, Jordan?
Yes. Yeah. You guys came out in the second half, and just RJ really started hitting the 3 ball. And when he started hitting the 3 ball, the rest of the team fell right in line.
They quit making threes.
They did.
Having said that, they were ahead in the fourth quarter. They were winning the game in the fourth quarter.
I was nervous.
Yeah. I just listened to it the other day, so I was sweating it out again. It's just a familiarity, and they'll give us their best shot. And they I hate to even mention this. Several years ago, we were one of the top seeded teams, and they were not. And we got them in like the second round or something, and they beat us. And it was absolutely miserable. I'm just telling you.
I get it.
It was not for them. You're right, not for them, but. So they're those games we play them every year. They're dogfights. They're fun. They're dogfights. They're in at Alder, and that tournament game, that was absolutely our biggest challenge and our closest game of the tournament run. And then we had to play McNick a third time, another league.
Yeah, another league game.
Same thing. I mean, we ended up winning that game by 10, but it was up for grabs. I think early in the fourth quarter, they hit a 30-footer. They got a freshman who's a really good shooter.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah. Remember, he had a 30-footer that got them to 3, I think, early in the fourth quarter. And but we have RJ. RJ was a difference maker in that game. He made some spectacular shots. He really came through, and we didn't turn it over and made free throws down the stretch. So those league games were our 2 toughest games, I think. Not just when you look at the scores, but just in terms of how they flowed
on the floor. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, then, Coach, we'll kind of round it into here. You guys beat Jonathan Adler by 21. You guys beat Wyoming by 27. You take care of Ursuline by 36, and take us to the championship game here, Coach, because Maysville meets you guys. You guys thought maybe looking at the bracket you'd be against somebody else. You come into the Maysville game. What were your thoughts against Maysville? And you guys end up winning by 14 and are obviously the Division II champions. What's your thoughts there, Coach?
Well, something that you don't normally have to do during a season, but we had a week leading up to the state semifinal game, right? So we had to prepare for 3 teams. We got the kids ready to play Youngstown Ursuline, right? But we spent a lot of time watching Shelby and Maysville and putting together scouting reports for both, knowing that we were going to get to watch them in the other semifinal game after we won. But we threw all our eggs in the Shelbyville basket. We thought for sure they were going to win. But Youngstown Ursuline was a good team. I mean, they were 27-3 or something like that. They had beaten Akron Hoban during the season. We had tons of video on them. They're young. They're really young, but they had a good kid in the middle we thought was going to be a problem. 2 good guards. The coach's son is really good, one of the top freshman point guards in the state. But I think they wilted a little bit under the pressure of the big lights. I don't think they were ready for that. And here was our advantage. With number one, we had played at UD Arena 2 Saturdays before that in the district championship game at the same time, 10:45. So we'd been there and done that, right? Mm-hmm. Youngstown Ursuline coming down playing in the state, I think that was just too much for them. And once it started going downhill on them early in the third quarter, that snowballed fast. But they're going to be back. They're young, and we're probably going to, depending on where they fall in divisions next year, we might see them again. But we thought for sure right up to halftime of the second game that Shelby's got a really good kid. He's going to Wright State. He was the D2 state player of the year, Alex Box Cutter or something like that.
Yeah, I've heard them. Yeah, I knew.
He is, if he doesn't start or at least play a lot next year at Wright State, I'll be shocked. It's a 6'7" guard that can shoot it from deep, post guys up. He is spectacular. He had like 35 points in that game. And, we thought for sure it was going to be, because they looked really good. They were long, athletic. And Shelby and Maysville brought everybody. That place was packed and loud. Crazy loud. And that was a great game. And Maysville just toughed it out with their shooters and won it down the stretch. Shelby was extremely disappointed. We were not. Thanks to Shelby, they beat Lutheran West, which was, the preseason favorite. And I think the favorite, once the tournament got started, to win our division. And we thought they were going to be a problem for us, Lutheran West. But we had seen them in flying to the hoop, and they were really good. But Shelby knocked them off and beat them by 8 or 9 in the regional finals. And so we thought we were going to play Shelby, and we're pretty much focused on them most of the week. We did spend some time on Maysville. And we get to halftime of that Shelby-Maysville game. We're looking at each other going, we better start watching Maysville a little closer, right? And they won. So now you have a 24-hour turnaround, which is something I don't like that. I think that can be unfair to a lot of teams. But a 24-hour turnaround, and that benefited us. We're living at home, sleeping in our own beds. We got a short bus ride down there to the game, and they're staying in a hotel and blah blah blah. And it was our advantage for sure. But they hung in there with us. We had a height advantage. Definitely had a size advantage on them.
Yeah.
Their crowd was loud and obnoxious. I mean, they did not like.
Oh yeah.
We shot.
We got to cover some of the coverage, and it was.
Well, we made 21
wild.
free throws. I don't think they shot one.
Based on what I saw, they didn't even get to the free throw line.
But they didn't even try. I mean, they shot 30-footers the whole game, right? I mean,
exactly.
Even the coach said in the conference presser afterwards that, Maysville, we didn't drive it. We didn't try to get fouls. We're jump shooters and three-point shooting team. And whereas we do at least attack the basket quite a bit. They were way more aggressive. Once they got down, it was, they were playing way aggressive. What's that, Jordan?
I said you guys had a electrifying dunk in the fourth quarter.
Oh, Charlie going up and dunking. That was like the icing on the cake. Yeah, wasn't it?
You'll put the icing on the cake.
Yeah, it was electric in that place, man. It was that environment.
My daughter went crazy.
The music, the lights, the starting introductions, everything about it was spectacular. I've been to Columbus when they've done it at the Schottenstein, and this was better. And I'm glad it's at Dayton, and I'm sure it's going to be there for quite a long time because they don't want it over there at Ohio State. But it's I liked Maysville. I liked Alex Bob. That kid could shoot it, man. I told him after the game, I said, dude, don't hang your head. You're a great player. He's got to find some place to play. That guy can really shoot it. They called him Big Shot Bob because he banked in a 3 against Hartley in the regional finals to send them to the state. But they had a really good team last year, a senior-laden team last year, and got eliminated in the district. They thought that last year was going to be their year, and they didn't know they were going to be able to make that run this year, which they did. And I like those guys. I like the coaches. The fans weren't real friendly, but the players and the coaches in the hallway afterward were extremely friendly and humble and made no excuses. And I felt a little bit bad for them, but they still get a state runner-up, man. That's historical for a lot of places and for anybody. But if you've never been, and state runner-up is not a bad thing to take home, right?
Not at all. Well, Coach, then it ends here with the Alter Division II state champions. Incredible run for you guys. Just really a fantastic season.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, just a really awesome year. Let's kind of wind it down here, Coach.
Yeah.
You win a state title, but in high school, there's always another season. Yeah. You got a new crop. We mentioned him a couple times. You got RJ Greer, who is a very highly touted player.
Yep.
You've got a couple big men that look like they could be playing college basketball also. What are we looking for, Coach? Are we looking for a repeat? Moving down a division seems like it could be beneficial with the talent you have.
There's no doubt going down a division automatically makes us a favorite, if you want to call it that. We'll see some of the same teams like Wyoming and Baden, but at the state level, it's going to shrink down and be a little bit less competitive. But and you're going to play fewer games. That's the other thing. We're turning a 220 team tournament into an 120 team tournament. So naturally, you're just going to have fewer games. But we've just put out our summer schedule where we're going to be playing. Where we're going to go, shootouts, scrimmages. We do a lot in the summertime. Yeah. And obviously that shows sooner or later. But we've got to replace those 2 guards, and not just what they did on the floor, but what they did in practice off the floor. Their leadership skills were great. We need to fill that leadership void somehow, or maybe an RJ Greer or a Brady Connor, who's got a couple D1 offers, or 6'7" wing guy. Maybe he can step up and become one of those guys. And it's not always just leading vocally, but it's leading by example also. And we got to replace Joe and Gavin, but and we're going to look a little bit different. I think the height's going to be even more obvious, next year. So we absolutely have expectations to be good again next year, and we always get everybody's best shot. We know that, and New York State defending state champion. That's escalated significantly. So now everybody wants to.
You got the bullseye on your back.
Yeah, everybody wants a piece of that. So it'll be an interesting year, but it starts here in a couple of weeks with workouts, open gyms, and we got a couple young guys that I think can step in and help us. We're going to need to fill the void in terms of our perimeter shooting. Can't just rely on RJ next year.
Right.
Brady's going to have to probably do more. Charlie Yule could shoot the three, but he's just not. He's a 38% 3-point shooter. You're just not going to shoot a lot of them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we need somebody to kind of help us out there, because the 3-point shot has become such a ridiculously big part of the game. I think I'm maybe exaggerating a little bit, but I think Maysville shot like 50 of them. I mean, Alex Bob shot 20.
Yeah, they're very high volume.
They shot a very high volume. Just sitting there and watching.
Yeah.
Even when the game was competitive in the first half, they were just letting it rip.
And everybody talked about how well we shoot it down in the tournament. We had a couple games we didn't shoot great, but I'd have to look at our stats. But we were probably around a 40% 3-point shooting team. We had 4 guys, I think, make over 50 on the season. Remember, that's 20, 30 games. We got 8 extra games in. But you have to be able to shoot the 3 now, man, even at the high school level. You have to be able to shoot it. And it makes all the difference in the world. I mean, if you're a good 3-point shooting team and you can pull those defenses out, especially those pack line defenses, if you can pull them out of the paint, create driving lanes and maybe some space down inside for one of those post guys to work, it's a huge difference maker. Not everybody can do it. Everybody wants to do it, but not everybody can do it. And for sure, it was one of our top 2 or 3 reasons why we went on the run we did was our 3-point shooting. And you can live the diet, but you can also die by it.
Offensive rebounding.
Yeah, well, shooting threes, you create longer rebounds.
You create long rebounds. I mean, it's
there's an art to that.
They go hand in hand. They go hand in hand for sure on the basketball court.
Yeah.
Coach, obviously we're winding it down here.
Yeah.
Jordan, any last thoughts on the run there for Alter? Anything you want to get off your chest before we wrap things up? And
no, it was an incredible run, incredible to be a part of. My family thanks you. I thank you, and can't wait to relock in for next basketball season and this upcoming football season. So
I'll see if I can find an honorary medal for you, Jordan. Hey, by the way, we're going to be sizing our fingers up for rings here in the next couple of weeks, baby.
That's what I was going to ask you, Coach. Before we got out of here, I was wondering what's that process like? If you want to touch on it real quick before we get out of here. Yeah, so they bring in a ring guy, or how's that work?
They bring somebody in. They're going to let us see what we have our option wise in terms of where we're going to pick from, and then they size everybody up professionally, so they make sure you don't get screwed. But we have you got to pay for them. Obviously, the state doesn't pay for that. The state gives you the trophy and the medals and all that. But I can't wait. Like I said, my oldest son has one. I think we paid about $250 for it back in 2001. I think it's going to be more than that with inflation, right? But I don't care how much it costs. I can't wait to get it. I'm not a ring guy. I'm telling you, I took my wedding ring off the first week I was married and didn't put it back on.
How'd that go over, Coach? How'd that go over?
I got used to it, man. I didn't put it back on, but I'm wearing this one.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Incredible.
Coach Fresh, we just want to say thank you for joining us today. Thank you for coming on the podcast and talking the incredible Alter Knights run to the title. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a learning experience for me, getting to get some in-depth knowledge of the program, a program that from you look out in the Dayton area, a program that everybody strives to be like Alter. I mean, that's just the facts. Growing up in this area, you want to have a program be as talented, as successful as Alter, and definitely appreciate you giving us an inside look at what it takes to be a champion.
Hey, I had a lot of fun, and I'll do it. Happy to do it with you guys. I broadcast our football games. I'm the color commentator for the football team, and they're going to be pretty good next year. But if you guys ever want to get on and talk about high school sports, basketball, football, I'd be happy to do it. I've been on with Justin Kenner a couple times.
Yep, good guy.
Yeah, and be happy to get on with you guys and talk high school basketball and football in the area. And, it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And you guys do a great job. Appreciate it.
We appreciate you, Coach.
Thank you, Coach. All right, guys, that's been Ohio Sports Talk. I'm Doug. That's Jordan. And that was Coach Fresh. And we will see you next time.
See you guys.